Can everybody hear me?
Frank, you can explain what's the process because we got tons of submissions. We have.
Well, yes, we got, first of all, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending where you are in the world. I want to say thank you. If you were on the previous one, I want to say thank you again for spending your afternoon with us. I want to say thank you to my very good friend Javier Valverde for joining me today. Javier and I are going to be going through some of your submissions. Now, there were a ton of submissions. I don't think we were expecting this many. I really want to say thank you guys for submitting your music and being brave and sending in your music. So what we've done is I've created a session. I have all the songs in there. Javier and I have listened to everything. I have notes, okay, on all your songs. Now, we only have an hour, so we're going to try to get through as many of these as possible. If I don't get to your song, I will continue talking to you about your song in that Slack chat. Loic, if you can drop the link to that Slack chat in there so that they can join if they don't have the Slack, and then I'll just keep, we can talk post the video because Piper's going to come on and do her mastering thing. So I'll be on there for a while. If you want to maybe listen to Piper and then come back, it's cool. But I'll just leave notes for every song and the name of the person and stuff. And Javier, he can jump on the Slack, and if he has anything he wants to add to that, he can do that. Yeah. So you want to say something, Loic? You're muted. No, I guess not. It was something.
You did?
You were just now. What'd you say?
Just trying to. I'm going back. This webpage is for me to understand how this event is organized because sometimes I forget. But let me tell you something. So if you don't mind, because we have a partner, IK Multimedia, and they're giving away a copy of their IK Multimedia Total Studio 2 Max, which is a $1,000 package. And I'm going to actually share my screen because this is a big deal for everybody. We partner with IK Multimedia, and what they're known for is really to have a bunch of tools for people to help work either remotely. If everybody can see my screen, drop a 1. Please do this. But actually what I would like to do is by the time you've done this, by the time of the session, I'd like to give this away to one of the attendees. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Can I get one?
Yeah, I was gonna say host count. I'm technically attending it too.
You guys, if you don't mind, tag Music Expo, tag Javier, tag Frank, tag me. Sorry, tag Music Expo, tag IK Multimedia, and by the end of this session, we'll pick a winner.
Woo! Amazing.
Good prize.
Awesome.
And drop a 1 if you like this idea.
Well, I'm gonna drop a 1.
I'm gonna drop a 2. That sounded bad. Sorry.
All right, guys. Do you have any more announcements, Loic? Because
no, that's it.
We got a lot of music to get to. So my name is Frank Socorro. I'm here with Javier. Javier, can you tell them a little bit about yourself, your lovely self?
How's it going? My name is Javier.
Well, before you continue, just let them know where you are right now. You can. I think you can show them. Is that okay? Look, if Javier shows everybody where he's at.
How do I work this? Sorry. Let me just start off by saying I am.
You can just remove the background.
I can record and mix the crap out of songs, but I don't know how to work Zoom. So I'm actually at the Hit Factory right now at Criteria Studios in Miami. I had a session earlier today. I was able to wrap it up because I needed to do this. And so I'm just here working. Sessions are kind of interesting nowadays. I've done a couple since the quarantine, but they're really limited, like with people, and you gotta wear, your trusty face mask the whole time. So it's good. It's just interesting. You just gotta make sure you have a lot of gum around you. But yeah, I mean, I've worked out of the Hit Factory almost most of my career. So back to what Frank was saying. Wait, let me go back to the.
Yeah, well, Javier gets his background back. We're gonna go over these songs, and let's get it popping. So we're gonna start with the first one. It's called "It Doesn't Mean a Thing" by Danny Strymer. I hope that pronounced that correctly. I'm gonna play a little bit of it just because we can't play the entire song. Is Danny in the chat? Danny, are you here? Danny, are you okay? Are you okay, Danny? I don't see him. I don't see Danny. Danny hit me with a 1. Danny, I don't think Danny's here. So we'll move on just because I can't talk to Danny directly. How about I have the second song called Canvas by Zo Dunbar.
And by the way, if the person is here, we can invite them to speak or even be on camera if they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh, Zo Dunbar, you're here. Hi. Okay, so we're going to play a little bit of your track really quickly. Here we go. Let me know if everybody can hear this.
I'm being the way I am, 'cause in the end, I paint my own canvas. I know my true colors, I know my shades. And there's no gray in my own mixture, so there's no reason to make a change. I paint my own canvas.
Fantastic. Man, that is a great sounding record. I really liked how that record sounded. I wrote down my notes. It's got a really nice balance. I like where everything is placed. My only notes for this are, I feel like, and Javier, obviously you can tell me what you think. I feel like in the chorus parts, it could use like a little automation to kind of give it more of a rise. I felt like it kind of stayed in the same place, even though we went to the chorus. And even though there's some additional instrumentation that happens, like there's another guitar that I hear come in, I felt like it kind of stayed in that space. And I think that might be with the amount of compression that's happening. Maybe like when it's meant to get louder, the compressor's kind of like holding it back. That's the only note that I had for that record. Other than that, I really liked how it sounded. I think it sounded great.
Thank you. Yeah, man. I mean, Zo, dude, that record is awesome. I really like the same thing as Frank said. Like, I mean, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, this is well balanced. It's definitely well balanced. The structure's excellent. The same thing with like, I just feel like it could be pushed a little bit more, so it moves a little bit during the choruses and during the stuff. But I mean, the guitar balances is awesome. I love the panning left to right. And your vocals sound great.
Yeah, man, really good job, bro. I heard it and I was like, damn it. What am I gonna say?
I was like, oh, this is good. What am I gonna say about this?
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Awesome. All right, so the next one is called Crossing the Lines. This one is from Joe Markert. I think I hope I said that right. Joe, are you here? Crossing the Lines? Crossing the Lines. Crossing the Lines. No crossing the lines. Okay. No, going once, going twice. Sold American. Next one I have is Cora. Cora Caitlyn, Bottom River. So I'm gonna play a little bit. This one has a really long intro, so I'm kind of gonna forward it a little bit towards. Oh, Mark's here. Sorry. Crossing the Lines. Let's go back. Play a little bit of Crossing the Lines.
Under pressure and I'm alone. Remember those nights I went to some road. We were so young. I know those sweet, sweet summer nights. And all these years I wish that I had tried. 'Cause now
another really cool submission. Thank you, man. On this one, my note, I really like the vocal sound, and I really like how dynamic it is. It's pretty open. And I was digging that, and dynamic, I mean, like, things coming in and out. My notes for this were, I felt like some of the other musical instruments could maybe come up a little bit and help support the vocal, because the vocal has a really cool sound, especially in that chorus when you kind of added that reverb. And I know that there were some strings in there, and I would have, me personally, I would have kind of turned the strings up a bit. What about you, Javi?
I like the same thing. Felt like, to me, it was too much of like the effect on the vocal on the breakdown, and also your fills should have been like high up to give that push.
Yeah.
But overall, the dynamics part is great, and the tone is good.
Yeah.
Vibe.
I think that sometimes, like in our early stages, when we're making music, sometimes we do cool stuff, but we're afraid to make it loud because you're like, oh, like that's too much. But it's like, if it's cool, like turn it up, like let people experience it. Like fills are by themselves for a reason. Like you wanted people to hear it. So
Yeah, it's a fill because you put it there to make it feel like So yeah, but besides that, it's good. You did a good job though.
cool, man. Cool, 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 cool. All right, let's move on now to Cora. Cora, Caitlyn, are you here, Cora? Cora, can you hear me? You're gonna be hearing these all afternoon. Cora? No. Cora, no. Okay. I don't see any Cora. Cora. Mark just responded. Cora. Cora going once, going twice, going. And we're only doing this because we actually want you to hear about your song. Oh,
Yeah,
you're her dad. Oh, fantastic.
Oh.
Okay. Her dad's on the line. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna play because it's kind of a long intro, so I'm gonna play it a little bit further in. Cool. So, Javi, you want to go first on this one, and then
Yeah, I love that record too. Man. Like that, like that's like
that's your vibe.
It's got a lot of soul too. Like it's like a feeling. I still feel like I was missing more oomph because her vocals are pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I feel like the track could use more low end on overall.
Yeah,
to more of that.
just like more power.
Yeah, a little more power because her vocals are pretty powerful.
Yeah, I really dug the vocal. I really did. I really dug the effect, and it takes some courage to do a vocal sound like that and just kind of go all the way through with it. So typically people will just leave that for like a section, but you guys did it all the way through, and I think that's really cool, and it draws your attention. But I agree with Javier, maybe a little bit more in the low end, which is really important. All right, well, we're kind of moving pretty good through here. All right. And if you guys have any questions while we're going, there is definitely a Q&A box in here. You can drop your question in there, and we will. Oh, there's some questions in there now. Well, somebody sent a song. Well, Frank, why don't you post it in the Slack, and then we'll talk about it later. Okay. Yeah, the song submission is definitely closed, Jojo. And then Grooveman also wants to submit a track, so you guys post these links in the Slack chat, and then we can kind of visit them later. Cool, cool, cool. So let's keep going. All right, so we're going to Spectrum, the Originator, Infatuated, and I saw Spectrum in here earlier. I think you're still in here. Are you in here? Spectrum, are you here? Spectrum, boom, got it. All right, so let's play Spectrum. He's got a little bit of a build up. This is kind of a little funky little ditty.
Hey baby, say what you need. You got the fire, so please burn me. You say you want love, yes indeed. I got deep, you just might bleed. Oh, we can take it slow, but if you wanna go faster, let's pick up the pace, you know. Oh, I got what you need, I know you do too. So give me everything you got, give me all your love, give me all love, just give me all your.
Cool. Where am I? Boom. Sorry, guys. switching back and forth here. So that one that was Infatuated. I really like the bass tone on that one. And I like the track. I like the vocals. I think that the guitars could come up a little bit, maybe a little bit more to the Daft Punk kind of vibe. Maybe bring them up a little bit. And I also think that your kick could be a little bit weightier, kind of like it's there. And I hear the low end, but it's like they're not working together. And that's probably. And I see Javier. He made the kick hand motion. I think. I think that's, and I know that that's a tough balance to get, especially like maybe you're working on small speakers or you're doing it in headphones, but I think that's definitely would take it to another level. Javi, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the song. I like the groove 100%. I do feel like it needs a little more attack. Like I need more chest on the kick, just because to me that's a club record, and if it's not gonna translate good into, so like you need it to make me really dance to the 4/4. But yeah, as I said, it's pretty good.
Cool track, man. Cool track. And then the next one,
side chaining. Sorry.
Yes.
I don't want to, because I wanted
go
to say
ahead.
that. I totally forgot. Yeah, you can always try to side chain your kick. That's an old trick. It's been used, especially for dance stuff. Side chain your kick to the bass.
Yeah.
And you'll get more. Then the kick will stick out more. Same thing with the guitars. Like that should be a little bit brighter, more brittle to get.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah,
Cool.
just kind of so it cuts. And that side chain bass thing is, especially for a groove like that, that'll even make the bass kind of like make you do this,
Yeah.
which is super important in that kind of style. But overall, you guys are, man, I must say, like I was just like, this is gonna be weird, and then I'm like hearing, I'm like, God, I don't really have anything to say, like.
With Frank, like a lot of it, like I want to say, I'm going to give you always 100% opinion, and I know it's hard, but like, there's like some things that I'm like, because a lot of it is relative too.
Sure.
To taste. That's what beauty about music. It's, it's taste. But as professionals, we can give you professional opinions to how to make it better,
Yeah. And Eileen just asked, what's sidechain? Sidechaining is a process where you use the signal of one instrument to trigger an effect on another one, typically some sort of ducking or compression. So essentially, when one instrument plays, it kind of pushes down the other instrument out of the way so that it can be the main instrument. And then once it stops playing, that other instrument comes back into the forefront. So
normally it's a compressor, like when we're talking about the kick and the bass, you sidechain the compressor. So every time the kick hits, you have the bass and the kick probably around the same level, kind of. So they're always going to battle like the same frequency. So when you sidechain, so you'll set up the compressor on the bass because that's what you want to turn down. So every time the kick hits, it triggers this compressor and the bass does this. So you're basically doing this. If that makes sense with the hand motion. I'll put the pencil so you see that.
The cool part about it is that because you do it to a rhythmic instrument sometimes, like the kick, then it makes the compressor kind of work in time to the song, so it kind of tends to give things a groove. So it works out really well, especially stuff that has like 4 on the floor and whatnot. All right, well, the next one is called Just Like a Hurricane, and this one is by Eric Campbell. Eric, are you in the building? Eric's here. Thank you, Eric.
Hey, Rick.
So we're gonna play this one right here.
Now I didn't come here to sit up on the sidelines, no. I was made for the prime time, yeah. Or what you ain't know, so put me on the front line, boss. Don't matter what it costs, sky's the limit now. Preaching to myself, gotta say it till it sinks on in. Cause once upon a time I didn't know who I really am, and that was then, but today.
So awesome.
There's so little to say on that one, man.
Oh
The
man.
fucking groove is. Oh, sorry for cussing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sure
it's
there's probably kids.
good.
It's a bad habit that but that groove is so dope, and the drums, the vibe is just like, oh, it's good, man. Good
Yeah.
job.
I really like that one. I really like the sound. I have a question. Are those real drums or were they a sample? There is a break called BT from Kool and the Gang that sounds a lot like that. So you definitely got my hip hop brain going on that one. Um, let's see. Love the vocals. Love the vocals. The one thing I did notice when I was listening on my bigger speakers, there's a little bit of like a plosive on some of the vocals, like a kind of like a low endy. Um, so maybe like, you know, maybe like roll off some of the low end on that, because or just find them where they are and just like now in Pro Tools, like you can just turn the plosives down. Um, I had here maybe the guitars up a little bit in the chorus, and then also watch the compression, especially in the chorus, because as things get louder, you start to lose the drums a little bit. So the drums come in like, but then when everything is in, they start to like kind of shrink. Um, so it kind of, you know, um, it kind of takes away from that. So I would watch that. It could just be like something on the stereo bus or something. That's kind of just, so just be careful with that, and maybe ease up on it. That's really all I have.
Yeah, same thing, Frank. Like Frank said, just level rides. I mean, yeah, really, because the drums come in so good, and then they kind of like they don't disappear, but it's like kind of lose a little bit of it. I personally would have put more grit to the vocals. I do think that they're plosive, but you can duck down some of the low frequencies on it, or you can put a dynamic EQ on it if you want. But I would have like really cranked the distortion on it, But
A
that's
little
just
bit, a little Black Keys kind of vibes, Javi.
kind of, yeah, little Black
I can
Keys,
see
a
that.
little like Vintage Trouble. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, like maybe I don't know, but it sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. And Mark said, giving your comment of surprised of the submitted tracks means a lot. Thanks, learning something every day. Yeah, man. I mean, I think the one of the cool things about things like this is like you guys are all really close. And like the thing that most of the times takes like you over, it's just like little things. And those are the things that like Javier and I have been learning over years and years and years and years. So like doing this, we're trying to give you like those little things that can just like automation is huge. Like on a mix, like that's like the magic. Like yeah, you do your EQ and you do your compression, but when you can make the mix move and you know when somebody's gonna supposed to be excited and you bring up those parts and then you bring it back to kind of, you know, when you're at a club, the DJ doesn't just play the hot records the whole night because then you'll never get off the dance floor and you won't buy any drinks. So there's an ebb and flow to the night, and there should be an ebb and flow to your song to kind of bring people in, let them relax, bring them back in, because that anticipation is amazing. So cool. All right, so that was just like a hurricane. Next one is Mamacita by Ashton Leverett. Ashton, are you here? Ashton, ¿estás aquí? Ashton, where you at? Ashton is here. All right, cool. All right, let me play Ashton's track.
You already know what type I am. Try to put my arm around your waist and make you understand. Try to snatch your soul and make you go out screaming, oh damn. Try to make you think you're tired of these niggas chasing smart and narrow cause you want a man. Why don't we go make a plan like Cora and be my baby? We can do it with no hands. Other people call it lazy. I don't really have no fans. That's okay cause it don't phase me. Promise that I'll never play you long as you don't never play me like I'm crazy. I'm on my knee like it's Spencer Reeves. Leave all my exes and kissing me. They all be dressing and missing me cause they wanna get handsy like centipedes. Lately been having epiphanies. Niggas always wanting something free. They follow cause I'm an anomaly. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I'm extraordinary.
All right, that was Mamacita by Ashton. From this one, Ashton, I like the track. I like the sample that's in there. I think your vocals could be brighter, maybe more some reverb, some delay, something. It doesn't sound special. Like I know you're the lead vocalist, but it doesn't feel like listen to this guy. And I think that the backgrounds need to be a little bit also maybe panned a little bit in their own space because they kind of come in and it kind of makes me a little bit confused as to who I should be listening to. Yeah. So the track is really cool, but in this genre, your drums got to slap. And right now they're not slapping. Like the drums have to slap. You know what I'm talking about. Javi, what's your
Yeah, and without any disrespect at all, because I do like the track. The beat is great, but it's not doing anything. So I don't know. To me, it sounded like something like I don't know if you just cut the vocals and you just mix it to the 2-track that you already had, or you had everything separate. But you definitely need some more low end. The vocals need a little bit of reverb, not enough to where like it's wet and you hear the reverb. It's more like
space?
either a short, yeah, to give it some space. So maybe not a reverb, maybe a super short delay, like 8th note, something like that. Yeah, but it should definitely slap some more. But I like it. I like the sample. I like your flow. I think you're pretty on top of the thing with time. So I do like it. Sorry, I'm doing that. But yeah, I like it.
No, yeah, I think it's just a little bit of one of the things that I've been doing lately is I've been going back to slap delays, um, just because it adds a little bit of space. I mean, if you solo the vocal, yeah, it sounds weird,
Yeah, exactly.
but man, in the track, like it really makes a nice difference, and it makes this like kind of intangible, like what is that on the vocal? I don't know, and it just gives it like this little, and one of the things I like to do too sometimes with like effects is I'll EQ the effects a little bit different. So I might like super brighten it up or like make it really dark, and it just gives a little bit of a different tone to the effect, and it can really separate the vocal from the track. Um, and yeah, like so it's not a typical effect. Slap is not really that popular anymore, especially
Especially in
um
hip hop.
especially in hip
Yeah,
hop.
but I mean, Frank is right. Like I try to sneak it in. Like not during if I'm tracking sessions, I probably won't because they're like, "Yo, what's that?" And I'm like, ah. But like when I'm mixing, I'll really try to sneak in and slap. But it's more like a feel thing. But I mean, my go to I always like will change the EQ on my effects because that gives it that makes your vocal just sound fatter without doing anything, because you like the delay is going to be the delay, and if it just sounds like a double, then it's like, oh, it's just a double. So like, yeah, try to EQ, do some filters, stuff like that, and that will give you more bounce.
Yeah. Somebody asked for slap effect what millisecond. It varies from song to song. Obviously, the tempo will affect. Obviously, the faster the song, the 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 faster you can make the slap and still have it. And also how much feedback is on the slap because you can make a slap go brrr, like
Right.
like a racquetball court. So it really just depends on the song. But I just like how it's not always super obvious what it is, and it just adds like a texture, which can help. I focus a lot on vocals when I'm mixing, and I try to really separate the track from the vocal as much as I can. And Javi brought up a good point. If you're mixing to the 2-track, obviously sometimes you can't, pull stuff out. Um, but there's things you can do, like
Yeah.
like making a duplicate, filtering all the high end out of it, and just making like a bass version of the 2-track, and stuff like that. So that's where literally where people like Javier and myself come in sometimes, just like knowing those stupid tricks, like how to make it work. So,
Yeah.
have you ever used that Waves Factory plugin, Javi?
Which one?
The Waves Factory. Sorry guys, we're just gonna
Sorry.
have a separate
The Wave
conversation. Waves
Factory.
Factory, it's called like vocal something. I don't know. People swear by it. Like for doing just that. Like you need to make space for the vocal. Like you put it on the 2-track and it like literally like.
I have not, but I am going to look.
Apparently it's magical. So
And it's made by Waves?
it's called no Waves Factory. It's another
Oh,
company. Are you gonna get in trouble because you're a Waves guy? If you.
no. No, I'm not gonna get in trouble. But
All right, guys. So the next track is "Awaken" by Jeff Buchowski. Did I say that right? Jeff? Jeff, are you here? Jeff, Awakening in C minor. Jeff, ¿estás aquí? ¿Estás aquí conmigo? Hello? Jeff, going once, going twice. Jeff has left the building. Okay. The next one by DJ Payroll is called I Wish. DJ Payroll, you here? I saw you in the chat earlier. I don't know if you're still here. Paging Mr. Payroll. Paging Mr. Payroll.
Wait, did you skip
Did I
uh,
skip one?
Joe Marker?
Oh, we did that one earlier. That was like the third one, the crossing lines. Oh,
Sorry,
you know what
I
happened?
have
No,
it
you.
twice.
I had put it in two times in the session.
Yes, I have it twice. Sorry, that's me. I
I'm
forgot to take it
here.
out. That's me.
I'm here. Oh, he's calling Guillermo Lefeld. That's one of my fellow instructors from SAE. It's called Track Spacer. Um, he said his partner, the engineer, is a big fan of it. So we'll talk about that one later. So, where were we? Oh, DJ
Payroll.
Payroll. Payroll. Here we go. Cool. Cool. That was DJ Payroll. Um, okay. So Payroll, on this type of track, I really think you need to bring those drums. They need to kind of hit a little bit harder. They were kind of really mellow, which is cool, but I feel like for this style, like the drum should have hit a little bit harder. The I like the vocoder effect on the thing. I just feel like it could have been a little bit clearer. Like it kind of was a little bit muddy, and you couldn't. It wasn't clear for me. Um, and I think just overall the track could have just maybe opened up a little bit, maybe some panning and kind of space it out a little bit better so it could breathe. And I definitely think this is a track where side chaining, a more obvious side chain, like where it's like, the bass is like pumping would have been like more. Javi?
Yeah, no, I like the track a lot. It brings me back to like my old like Groove Jet days, like hanging out at South Beach, fucking going to like lounges and
I have a Groove Jet story for you, but we'll talk about that after.
Nice. But side chaining 100% on this track would work way better. And I feel like that synth that comes in at the beginning with the panning thing is awesome. I think it could go down when the other thing comes in, when the other synth comes in. I love the fucking vocals, like sample chops on it, like on the book. But yeah, besides that, the sidechain thing, and then maybe that synth, the panning synth. I think it sounds great when I'm sitting in front of two speakers because of the panning. In a club, most clubs are gonna be like more mono, so you're gonna lose that aspect of it. But that's the other thing too. It's hard because you'll mix a record that sounds great in front of your speakers with your good in the sound field, but then it translate good into the club,
Yeah.
And I love the name DJ Payroll.
That is a really good point. Like it's important that, whatever your intended audience is, that you're kind of keeping that in mind, like where are people going to listen to this music?
Yeah.
Like, obviously stuff like this, four on the floor, more dance stuff is meant to be played in a specific area where being stereo sometimes doesn't really do anything for you. So I think songs like this, it's good to check your mixes in mono, if any way you can. There's a lot of plugins that'll do, mono just for you to check, just to see if things are still there after it goes into mono, because you can't control the stereo system of the club.
Yeah, I mean, you should always check your mixes in mono, whatever it is that you're making mixes to. But yeah, when you're mixing, you gotta know your audience, like know what you're mixing for, like. But and it should be able to translate great into both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. The next one, I didn't put the name, but the name of the song is Ivory. Ivory. Do we have a taker for Ivory? Are you here? Ivory? Ivory? No? Okay. And
I know
Ivory's here.
MC Valley can talk back to. Wait, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Ivory's here. Ivory's here.
Right.
Let me trace your lips with mine, fulfilling my dreams with every line. Let me take you to cloud nine, fulfill my desires, watch the stars align, and next to you, all my mornings, next to you, the colored ivory, all of my mornings, next to you, they're colored by your skin, my mornings. Quiero regalarte el tiempo que queda entre mis manos. Quiero regalarte el alma y habita entre tus brazos junto a ti.
Awesome. That was lovely. Javi, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I like it. I like the English Spanish thing is great, and it's hard to pull off sometimes. No, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's
No, you're
I've
right.
seen it,
Like,
I've seen it like where people do it, and even if you're bilingual, that's great,
Yeah.
But it didn't feel unnatural, which is good.
Right.
I felt the vocals need a little more low end,
Yeah.
like a little
more
more
body.
power. Yeah, they're a little, brittle, but that's just an EQ thing. You can just duck down some of the high ends, and you're gonna be able to push. Your vocals are gonna push out more. I would. I hate this because I keep saying I would have done this, and it's not. Like, yeah, well, you're not me, so screw you, right? But I think everyone did a great job. But a little more wetter, like more reverb. I would have liked it, and then like a nice little like delay underneath.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's tough because sometimes you want to keep the intimacy, so you don't want your vocals to be wet because then it's kind of like get washy. So you have to find the right balance, and it's really like playing with the effect, like seeing where it is, and finding, like Frank said, it's all about little things. Like that was in Greg's, like coming into the game. Actually, Frank is the one that hired me. He was my first hire. I mean, he hired me. Like I was his intern, so I owe him a lot. Besides being a great friend, he's a great mentor. But it's the little things that matter. Like if you pay attention to detail, that's what's really gonna get you out there. You're paying enough attention to detail to writing your songs, so you might as well do that when you're mixing. One thing is sending it out to somebody to get it mixed, but listen to it when it comes back, because at the end of the day, it's your song. You want it to sound right the way you want it to.
Absolutely. I would I agree with Javi. I think it could use a little bit more body. I'm a big fan of body in vocals, because I listen to too many bossa nova records, and they're always like this close and they're singing really soft. So there's a lot of like low end in the vocals. I love that, and I hate reverb, but I use it because it does the thing. But I'm not a big fan of reverb. But I know that in a song like this, like you could definitely have used some space, like Javi said, a delay. It's very open, and there's not a lot of instrumentation going on, so there's tons of space to like fill. So you could do that with your vocal and push it forward. And there's one more thing. there's an acoustic. It sounds like an electric acoustic guitar, like one of those ovations, and there's a little click that happens every time it plays, and it almost sounds like a bad edit. Um, and I know that that's just a natural thing that happens in those guitars, and I feel they're like, yes, it's a Martin. So I feel like because the EQ on it is really bright, that little thing sticks out, and for me, it was distracting to listen to the song. Oh, it's the Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, sure, Martin. Okay.
Okay, it must be all that red hair. Um,
You know that's what they use for strings.
yeah, is this red
Yeah,
hair?
yeah, it's actual red hair. Those all those strings are made
Yeah,
from
so
real hair.
one of the cool things about having an electric acoustic is that you can actually record the electric part, but you can also mic it. And sometimes that combination will give you the brightness without having to over EQ it, and then you can kind of balance it. And then the other thing you can do is you can kind of sometimes even do like cool stuff with the direct one, maybe distort it or make it like a pad, or just do like fun stuff with it, where it's not just a typical guitar sound, but will actually kind of fill in the track, and kind of that's something that you could bring in and out and just, production stuff. But definitely when I ever record, if it's an electric acoustic, I try to mic it as well as record the DI if possible. And guys, don't be scared to record guitars in your house. It's definitely possible. Um,
I just recorded guitars before this. I hopped on with you guys. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So, Diego asked, what do we think about using two languages? I agree with Javi. It's great. You guys pulled it off. It didn't seem forced or contrived or in any way. So I think you guys did a great job. So we got 11 minutes, so going to try to kind of get through a couple more. We have one by Phil Sobie. It's called Meters. Phil, you in here? Phil, are you in here? I saw you earlier. Here, Phil's here. All right, let's play this. I'm going to forward a little bit towards the middle because it kind of builds up. So. All right. That was Meters by Phil. Phil, one of the things that I noticed in this, I really like the guitar. I really like the groove. I like all of the ideas. Um, the only thing I hear is that I feel like you need to separate the parts. Like everything sounds like it's living in this frequency spectrum right here, which makes the record sound small. So like your low end could extend further, your kicks can be darker, which allows your high end stuff to be louder as well, and it just creates like a space. I feel like everything right now is right here. It sounds like you're mixing on really small speakers, and you're like not boosting highs because maybe the speaker's distorting, or you're mixing on headphones. So you're not really, he said, I am. So that's kind of like, small speakers are great. Like you can tell I have small speakers here, but I use them to check certain things. You still need to be able to feel how far down you're going extension wise with the low end. And I think that that's what's missing, and it's making everything sound like it's all kind of here when it should be like,
Yeah, actually, pretty much the same thing. Like I feel like that track. I was missing. I felt like the keys were too loud to me. Like there was more. Everything, all the presence was in the mid to high mid, and like a lot of times you can get, even if you're mixing out at small speakers, reference tracks. Know a record that you love. That you know what the low end sounds like because you heard it in your car or whatever. Play that on the same speakers and see where your frequencies are sitting there. Like, I don't know if you're, like selecting different sounds. Maybe that kick is just not cutting it, to give it more space or it's clashing. But yeah, it should. I always check my stuff on headphones too. Like I always have a pair of when I'm mixing. I have a pair of headphones on the floor on the side, just open. So every once in a while, I just mute the main speakers or the NS10s that I'm working on, just to see what I can hear with the speaker all the way. That's something I learned from like other people. They would always have like a speaker in the other room, or they're in the lounge, and you're just listening to see where you're sitting at. But yeah, I felt like it needs a little more space overall. It's good.
Yeah, and just off of what Javi's saying, sometimes just even walking around, like hearing off axis, or one of the things that we used to do sometimes is we would turn it up and we would close the door of the studio and walk outside and hear what it sounds like like this is what it would sound like outside the club. You can't even get in. But that's just a different way you can kind of hear where things are placed, and then listening on small speakers and you know, uh just a different place. AirPods. I know that they're not the sponsor for this one, but I'm a huge fan of the Sonarworks. Did you try, Javi, the Sonarworks?
No.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I'm gonna try it this week. Actually, I have
Check
something
it out.
that I'm
Well, they're
working
giving
that
away
I'm
50 free copies.
Oh, maybe I'll be one of them.
From
I'm
Music
gonna have to
Expo.
talk to Lloyd. Okay.
So, so yeah, I mean, we're coming up to the end of our thing. We have a few songs left, which I'll discuss in the chat. I'll keep going. I'll be over in the chat, and and I'll keep discussing them. We have a few minutes left. Lloyd, what did you say?
We are big fans of Sonarworks, and we're giving away throughout the event 50 copies of the Sonarworks reference for headphone edition, so you can improve your listening experience when you mix at home. So stick around, but we're giving away 50 copies
Nice.
of Sonarworks reference for headphone edition. Who's excited? Drop a 5 if you are excited, like high 5.
Yeah. All right.
I dropped the
So okay. So I mean, some people sending some tracks late. If you have a track, you can just maybe put in the chat. We'll stick around for a little bit.
No,
Afterward
not here. Sorry. Yes, drop them, but in the Slack channel.
in the Slack channel.
We're gonna have to turn off the light here to turn on the light on the other room.
Oh man.
Yeah. So we're going to get off. Javi, any last words?
I just want to thank everybody that submitted, even the ones that we didn't pick or didn't get through. Like, it takes a lot of courage to be able to, have
Yeah.
some random stranger, like, be like, hey, this is what I think of your song. Like, that's awesome. Like, the fact that you guys can do that, I admire. I want to thank Frank. I want to thank Lloyd, Hannah, everybody at the, Music Expo for letting me be on this. And like Frank said, like, just keep at it. Like all the stuff was really good that we heard. There was a lot of stuff that was like, oh well, this sucks, and it wasn't like at all, and music is just relative. Like, you might think it sucked, but it sounds great to somebody else. And that's the beauty. So just keep it up. I need to figure out I didn't get to figure out how to work Slack.
It's okay.
Oh,
I'll send you the link.
I'll text you. Send me the link. Well, I hit the link and it was asking me for a password, and I was like, oh shoot. But I want to be able to get to everybody. Like if we're gonna do this on the site too, whoever we weren't able to get to, and I can get to them.
Yeah, I think we got like about maybe 5 or 6 left, and I'll drop because I have my comments written down. I'll drop my comments over there for each song, and then if you have anything you want to ask me, I'll be on there for a little bit. And I know some of you are gonna go listen to Piper, which I think is important because she's awesome. But yeah, thank you guys, and thank you Loic and Hannah and Javier and Michelle's on here. Hey Michelle.
Thank you.
We're sorry. I mean, we're trying to bring the experience that we have at the event so people understand. And if you had received my email this morning, the event is try to be as close as possible to a physical event. Of course, we can't. We're all spread across the world, so we're trying to use the tools that can help us. But I realize that some are new or uncomfortable to be on Slack or Zoom, and I kind of appreciate that. So again, we're trying to make it easy for everybody. If it's hard for you, just ping Anna and I. We'll try to make it easy. Just bear with us. We have over 200 people who signed up for this event, and we're trying to give the personal attention to each one of you. So bear with us, okay? Thanks for your patience and for being great.
Thank you guys. I'll see you on Slack.
Slack. Yo, thank you, man. Thanks everybody. And everybody that submitted was awesome. Great job.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Frank, for having me.
Let me drop the link to the Slack so you guys, you can just click on it. We are in the feedback.
Slacking.
Right here, you need to hang there. Boom. Anna. Yeah. All right.
All right, later, guys.
Thank you.
Later, yo. I'm going to hang out on the Slack.